Yeah. Sometimes I get so mad, there's no controlling me. My thoughts get so bad, I'm like, I might grab a bat, I don't know. My wrath, my blood boils over like, oh God, here goes. I lost all feeling from my head.
What's up, sports fans? This is Sam with SamShady Sports once again. I'm talking USFL running backs for the Philadephia Stars today. Yesterday, I broke down quarterbacks. It seemed that everybody seemed to enjoy that video. So I'm moving on to the next position group that I believe is a huge advantage for the Philadephia Stars. Let's get into why I think this is an advantage to them and what I think Andrews has in store for these two backs. Stars were slated to select second overall in the running back / fullback position group, with the only pick ahead of them being Tampa Bay. The Bandits elected to select B.J. Emmons, which left the guy Andrews hoped would be on the board the entire time there for the picking. That man was Darnell Holland, the electric running back from Kennesaw State University in Georgia. Originally from Georgia, Darnell Holland is one of those electric running backs that can play out wide as a receiver at times, return kicks, or contribute in the run game. He has never quite been the or contribute in the run game. He has never quite been the full-time starter, which proves to me that in the USFL he will most likely see a running back by committee approach as well with these two guys. Originally from Georgia, he attended Bowden High School all 4 years. His freshman year, he didn't play much and watched this team struggle to a 5-5 record. He ultimately would play all 4 years of high school with Bowden and watch as they won, I believe it was 31 games over 4 seasons, which means over the next 3 seasons, he helped them to 26 victories and just 8 losses. This man claims to have never experienced a losing season throughout his over decade-long high school, college, and now professional playing career. And I believe it. After looking back, he's not lying. In college, he watched 4 winning seasons. In high school, helped contribute to 3 winning seasons. And it's been the same for him in this high school with Bowden. Holland spent 4 years with KSU, like I mentioned before, contributing in the run game as a receiver and as a kick returner. He originally signed on to play in college at only 175 pounds. By the time he graduated from college, he weighed 199 pounds, adding 24 pounds of bulk to his frame in 4 seasons. He graduated college having scored 30 touchdowns, 29 of them on offense, 26 as a rusher, 3 in the passing game, and 1 as a returner. He went on to participate in the the TSL Showcase in Atlanta in 2019. This was before a brief stint with the New Orleans Saints. He would go on to spend the 2020 season on Team 9, the first time he would be coached by Bart Andrus. Later in 2020, he followed Andrus to the Spring League, in which he signed with the Generals. He would spend the next 2 seasons under Andrus, working with Brian Scott, helping lead his team to an undefeated record in 2021. The man who was the second overall pick in the USL running back class, as I mentioned before, has never experienced a losing season in his entire career and has no intentions to start now. Who else would you want to start a running back room than a man who's literally never had a poor season his entire career? At the end of the day, I think him knowing the offense and having spent basically the better part of the last 2 years under Andrews, he's going to step in and know immediately what's asked of him and what role he's going to play. And that's going to prove to be a huge help because he and Matt Colburn can work together to develop an efficient committee situation. I mean, there's only 2 backs on the roster. These guys are going to have to work together to stay fresh and stay healthy through their 8-game season. It seems Andrews prides himself in having versatile running backs that can affect the game in many ways. His second running back selection was, as I mentioned before, Matt Colburn, previously of Wake Forest. Colburn is another smaller back at 5'10", 202 pounds. He was named South Carolina's Mr. Football following a senior year of high school in which he rushed for over 1,700 yards and 24 touchdowns. After joining that stacked running back room for the LA Rams, he would wind up getting released in final cuts. The Rams wanted bigger backs, which definitely isn't a trait you would describe Colburn with at 5'8", 204 pounds. Colburn would go on to spend the 2020 season with the New York Guardians of the XFL. He only appeared in 2 of the 5 games, however, and managed to contribute in all 3 phases. Running game, passing game, and as a return man as well. In those 2 games, he collected 1 carry for 6 yards, 2 receptions for 8 yards, and 5 kick returns for 112 yards. Following the folding of the XFL, he went and joined the Spring League Blues and took advantage of his chances to play. He logged under 50 yards in Week 1, but by Week 2 he found his groove. In Week 2 he counted for just under 200 rushing yards, and in Week 3 managed just under 200 all-purpose yards. Ultimately, the Blues went 1-2 in the first fall season of the Spring League ever. This performance by Colburn was especially impressive because during the 2020 season, many players from the XFL and CFL, who had both watched their leagues shut down for the year, became available to sign due to the cancellation of their seasons. The Spring League ultimately removed a game from their schedule of each team due to COVID, but still managed 3 games with a stacked league roster and many notable names that people were aware of prior to the Spring League season. Colburn would parlay his performance into a contract with the Toronto Argonauts in 2021, but was ultimately released again during final cuts due to a rather deep roster they had as well. He would go on to, as far as I can tell, spend the 2021 season out of football prior to being selected by the Stars. If I had to guess, this is going to be an even split in the backfield. I would argue that Holland is the more polished receiver and return man, which could lead Colburn to see more carries out of the backfield, while the team moves Holland around and uses him as more of like a Darren Sproles type. These 2 backs are essentially very similar in players in terms of style of play, so really either one of them could be moved around the formation to be used as a receiver or in the return game if needed. Remains to be seen who wins the starting job. But regardless of who is the number 1 back, I expect to see a pretty even split in overall touches by season's end. That's all I've got for you guys today. Like I said, I think Colburn and Holland are a great pairing, and they're both very versatile, so they will fit into this offense well. It sounds like Andrus wants to spread people out and use the passing game more than the run game, but I could be just making assumptions based on the players he drafted at running back. I think he has a lot of tools to work with in 2022, and he will find success in his first season with the Stars. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. As always, you can use my code SamShady with Seat Geek to save $20 with any purchase, and you can also help support the channel by checking out my affiliate marketing links in the description below for eBay Motors and sports memorabilia. I also am sponsored by Amazon Music, again in the links below. There are a couple other apps that I recommend down there, so you should check them out and see how you like them. And stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this with your friends, and let's continue to build this channel up. I would love to have more discussions with you guys in the future, and moving on, I'll do a little bit more live stuff so I can get some conversations going with, which will make it a little bit easier to tolerate these videos so it's not just me talking the whole time. Once again, thanks for checking it out, and I hope you enjoyed what you listened to.